Welcome to Ready to Talk, Ready to Listen, a podcast about all things mental health. CHE Behavioral Health Services interviews guests as they discuss relevant mental health topics and speak with our industry's top leading trailblazers. Let's get started discussing behavioral health and ways to support our mental well-being.
Good morning. Dr. Dana Watson here. I'm one of the hosts of the Ready to Talk, Ready to Listen podcast, where we feature top experts and leaders and those interested in behavioral health care and mental well-being. I have Chad Franzen here of Rise 25, who has done hundreds of interviews with successful entrepreneurs, investors, and CEOs. We flipped the script today, and today he will be interviewing me for my very first podcast.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much, Dr. Watson. It's great to be here. Before we get started, I'll let everybody know that this episode is brought to you by CHE Behavioral Health Services. CHE offers comprehensive medical healthcare solutions, including in-person and telehealth psychology and psychiatry services. Americans are experiencing greater stress, anxiety, and depression than ever before. CHE's mission is to provide access to care and support individuals who improve their quality of life and emotional well-being. They have over 850 professionals. CHE does 850 professionals committed to providing gold standard and evidence-based behavioral health care. To learn more about CHE or to book an appointment, call them at 888-831-2618 or visit cheservices.com. A little information about Dr. Watson. Dr. Dana Watson is the Vice President of Quality Assurance at CHE Services and a licensed clinical psychologist. She received her BA from Arkansas State University and her MA and PsyD from Forest Institute of Professional Psychology, launching her career first in forensic and correctional psychology in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Over the past 20 years of practice, Dr. Watson has also accumulated treatment expertise in inpatient, outpatient, community-based rehabilitation, and geriatric psychology. Dr. Watson has served as adjunct faculty for undergraduate and graduate programs at several universities. Her clinical experience and excellence in leadership, combined with her passion and talent for training, has made her one of CHE's largest assets and resources for their clinical staff. Hey, Dr. Watson, thanks so much for being with me today. How are you?
Well, I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good. I'm sure it'll be great. Hey, so we're going to talk a little bit about the 5 love languages. I've heard of them. It's how you understand your partner's needs and they understand yours, right?
Yes. And it's exciting stuff because it's easy and it's quick to implement and to see results, even for those folks who might not have studied relationships intensively, but want to do better, or maybe they hear they should be doing better. So it's great for people who want to take an honest inventory of how they're doing, if they're doing enough to show love in their relationship. And, this week I was hoping that we would kind of focus on romantic relationships, but the love languages are important to speak to children, friends, parents, even coworkers. Dr. Gary Chapman, who wrote the book, has written love languages for spouses, children, and even single people. And he has one also called the 5 love languages of apologies, because really all of these are transferable skills. Dr. Chapman has a website called the5lovelanguages.com where you can learn all about love languages and take a free quiz to see which one is your primary love language. Your significant other can take it too, so you both can learn a lot about how you need to be loved and how you each interpret love. He talks about these little behaviors that you can do as filling up your partner's love tank. And honestly, I just adore that analogy.
Okay, great. So why don't we just get into it? What are the languages of love?
Okay, super. So the first one is words of affirmation. And this is words that are written or spoken that are focused on specifics about the other person's strengths or traits. So this looks like verbally encouraging and appreciating another person. You should be genuine when you're telling them what it is that you like about them, what they do that makes you feel loved, and why they're important to you. You're looking at them when they're talking, and minimizing as many distractions as you can. This is really verbal intimacy. And it sounds like statements such as, I want to tell you how much you mean to me. I don't say it often enough, but I do think it. You're amazing. You're an amazing person because yada, yada, yada. And it also sounds like, hey, I really want to tell you how much it means to me that you always, whatever they do. So it's really getting in the habit of telling your partner or your children why you love them and that you love them, how excited you are to see them after work or after school. And you can even do this in written form, like sending a text or sending a card to express your appreciation for the other person.
Okay. So that's the first one. What's the second one?
The second one is quality time. This one is actually the most popular love language, they say. It's real time spent together and focused on each other. And nowadays I can kind of see in the hustle and bustle of how busy everybody is and how many distractions, I can see why quality time is moving up on so many people's lists. This sounds like, can I take you to lunch today? I miss you. Or let's get a glass of wine and sit down at the table at night, maybe just for 10 or 15 minutes to actually look at each other and catch up. And this looks like weekly date nights or turning your phone off during important specific times, not allowing those distractions to be more important than the person that you love, making eye contact with them, and truly listening to them when they talk. And for children, something like taking them out to see a new movie or a father-daughter dance, or just sitting on the floor playing games with them, or even going on a bike ride. Time spent together that's focused on each other without distraction.
Okay. So we've got words of affirmation, quality time. What's the third one?
The third one is acts of service. So this is doing for another person what they would normally have to do for themselves. This can sound like, how can I help you today? Is there anything that I can take off your plate today? And it looks like doing something that the other person would have to do for themselves, that would save them time and energy. So if you wouldn't normally take out the trash, then you can do that. If you wouldn't normally cook, you can do that. You would normally clean the kitchen after dinner, you can do that. Breakfast in bed is nice, or helping them with a chore that they're doing is very good. And for kids, you might can help them clean their room, help them walk the dog, help them with their homework.
How about the fourth one?
The fourth one is physical touch. And it is a little of what you think it might be, but more so a whole lot of intimate connection that involves physically touching the other person. And this can look like hand holding or snuggling on the couch, putting your arm around the other person, rubbing their leg. It can be sensual kissing, or even sex, but this is physical intimacy. And it's so much more than what people traditionally think about being physically intimate. Usually, this is nonverbal love, but when it's expressed verbally, it can sound like, can I hold your hand? Or come snuggle up here on the couch with me while we watch our show. And could you make extra time tonight for just me and you? I have a bottle of wine. So the focus is on intimacy first and the physicality second. For kiddos, this could be kisses and cuddles. It could be hugs. It could be holding hands while you walk into a store, mani-pedis together, or even play wrestling.
Okay, we've got 4 of the 5. What's the fifth one?
The fifth one is gifts. And these can be small, personal, very thoughtful gifts. The value comes from the thought, not the monetary amount. So this can sound something like, I saw something today and it reminded me of you. Or you have worked so hard lately, I booked you a massage or a manicure or one night alone to watch TV. And this looks like an amazing display of affection using meaningful objects and tokens of affection. So remembering special occasions and personalized gifts. Money, again, is not the issue. It's the thoughtfulness of this gesture that's the true gift.
Okay. So like flowers and romance for women, or a new gun or new underwear for men?
Sometimes those stereotypical gifts do make sense. I can't tell you how many men have told me, my wife doesn't like flowers. And I say, I have never seen a woman become angry that her husband dropped off a small bouquet of flowers at her work for all the other women to see how he feels about her. So it's okay if she doesn't want you to spend a lot of money on flowers. But if you haven't done it in years, I'd recommend that you give it a try. But most importantly, find a treat that does have meaning and value for your person, and then keep trying. For kids, it might be making their favorite dessert, a surprise gift for no special reason, definitely delighting in the gifts or the crafts that they make for you.
When it comes to these love languages, are there some people that are multilingual?
Some people are multilingual and they can give and receive in several or all of the languages, but typically one or two languages will be their strongest.
I think I can pick mine out from the list. I know what I like, but how do I know for sure what like my wife likes, or what my child's language is? How do I know what my coworkers' love language is, or my guy friends?
You can oftentimes tell how individuals want to receive love by watching what they do or what they say or how they show love to other people. You can also tell their love language by how they complain about things, or by what they might criticize others for not doing enough of, because ultimately they're telling you what their needs are. So couples come into therapy all the time, and one partner thinks they are loving the other so well by buying big, extravagant gifts and doing really large, grandiose things. But the other partner maybe has spent years feeling unloved because their primary love language is words of affirmation, and that's what they're not getting enough of. All that person knows is he or she never tells me that they're proud of me, that I'm a hard worker, or that they respect me.
So what's your love language, Dr. Watson?
I think that I'm lucky enough to be multilingual, but as I have matured, my primary love languages are probably quality time and physical touch.
How do people even develop a love language?
Well, we all give and receive and interpret love in different ways. And it's based largely on our experiences with our caregivers. And most of us need love in all those ways. But we have one or two primary languages that we seem to need more of. And those needs can change a little bit over time as we grow and develop. We learn what we think love is and how we want to be shown love by what our early caregivers did for us, or in some cases didn't do. So sometimes if our parents didn't love us in a certain way, that way might not be high on our needs list. And we may think it's not important to other people, or we don't understand why it would be. So we definitely need to listen to what our significant others are asking us for or what they might be criticizing us for not doing enough of, and look for the ways that they're loving us. They often want love in the same ways that they give it. So they're telling us, hey, this is what I think love looks like and what makes me feel loved. So please do more of that for me. And it's important to love our people in the ways that they interpret love, not in the ways that we want or think love should be. So love languages, again, have a lot to do with how we attach to our primary caregivers as children and what they taught us about love. And if you think about it, Why does snuggling up to another person or holding hands make some of us blissfully happy and some of us not so much? And why do some of the terms of endearment that people use make them so happy and feel so loved? But those words are not as meaningful to others. Why do some of us work so hard to find just the right gift and others just send a gift card? How we're shown love is usually how we believe love should be shown to others.
Very interesting. So, what about people who were raised by absent or preoccupied caregivers who didn't show much love?
That's a good question. There's certainly nothing wrong with them, but they can often see the results of these experiences or lack of love experiences in their adult relationships. So they might be really good and decent people who just find it more challenging to understand and honor what their partner needs or what their child needs to feel loved when those aren't things that they need to feel loved. So if your parents were neglectful or preoccupied or even abusive, there's a chance that the things you didn't get might not be of value to you. So someone trying to love you by saying words or spending time with you or touching you may have less meaning to you. If your caregiver didn't verbally express their love or their proud feelings for you or make time to look at you and see you, there's a chance you don't know how to do it for others. You might think that just being in the room and watching TV together is quality time, or that scrolling on your phone when your partner is needing attention is okay. So none of these things are bad until they leave the other person feeling hurt and rejected.
But so, can we also learn to do better in loving people, even if we didn't get love like that?
Oh, absolutely. Because these folks can also decide this is what I didn't have. So this is what I now want to give my children and my family. And that's amazing. Is it easy to learn? Not immediately. But what I see is that when these people do love another person and they want to show it, they are invested in asking, what do you need from me? How can I love you better? Tell me how I can show you how I feel about you in a way that's meaningful to you.
I like how these seem so simple and you can see immediate results.
Yeah. So you can see immediate results. You can just start them at any time and then continue them. So if there are some of them that don't come naturally, then decide if you love your people enough to invest in learning and doing new things to show your love. But don't do it just one time or two times and then get a great response and then stop. Because this is a focused and intentional way to continually show love to the people who are important to you. And these aren't secrets. I mean, it's a gift for a person to sit with you and say, you know what I heard on the radio today? I heard all about these love languages and I'm feeling a little convicted. Like we could each take the test and see if we're doing what the other person needs. I'd be excited to learn new ways to meet your needs and to show you how I feel about you.
I'm guessing that love languages aren't the only way to improve relationships.
Right. This is an awesome and relatively easy way to start building love and trust and intimacy and to keep the love tanks full. And anytime that you realize you're off track, just be intentional about getting back on track. But some relationships, it is important to say, are suffering in ways that need more intensive interventions, like how to manage anger, healthy communication, or even coping with trauma. So there are more intensive forms of individual and couples therapy that can help with that.
That's very encouraging. We know what the love languages are. We can learn which ones we need and our loved ones need, and we can even learn how to do more to improve our relationships. That sounds great. Sign me up. I'm in.
I know, right? But hear my entire philosophy on love languages. They don't fix everything. There are still so many valuable parts to therapy, like healing old wounds, communicating in healthy ways, and learning to de-escalate conflict. Love languages is one of my favorites, though, because you can learn that these are really all about what these are all really about. And you can begin to build love, to fill up your partner's love tank. And I think that's an awesome start to a happy relationship. And these are really easy, loving behaviors that, like I said, you can start now, and you can do a few each day in just minutes. And you can definitely get them all in like every week. A lot of my clients, I challenge them to do 2 a day and make sure they cover all of them in a week, or, they'll set goals for themselves, and they get very excited about it because it is reciprocal. Once you begin to love another person and invest in them and see them, it certainly, the benefits are reciprocal back to you. And I would challenge each listener to go online, take the love languages test to see what your love language is. Ask your significant other to join you. Think about buying the book and really studying the ideas behind the languages and the love languages themselves. And I would challenge each listener to just start being mindful of these expressions of love, and that there are different ways to express love, and to see if they are loving the people around them in some or several of these ways every day. In less than a minute, you can speak words of affirmation to your significant other, your children, or your coworkers, even your boss. So it's very easy to get started.
Great. Hey, Dr. Watson, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been a great pleasure. I'm glad it's recorded so I can go back and take some better notes. It really applies to everybody. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you, Chad.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for joining us in this episode of Ready to Talk, Ready to Listen, all things mental health. Click to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google Play. Until next time.